Hello, and welcome to my very first podcast episode. Welcome to On Pointe. Guys, I'm so excited for this. I'm such a talker. Everybody in my life knows it. You guys know it already if you watch my YouTube videos or literally anything of me. So yeah, I just feel like this is going to be the perfect outlet for me. And for this very first episode, I wanted to bring on my very own sister. Yes, she is my real sister, Zolita. It's funny because a lot of people just think I call her sis or like sister online, but they're like, what? You're actually sisters? Because if you don't know already, my sister is a pop star, Zolita. She is just the best person I know, and I thought she would be perfect to bring on for the first episode because if you don't know me already, then she can help you guys get to know me a little bit because we're going to be talking about our childhood, how our childhoods were different, trauma that we had that like is taken into our life now, and I just think she's the perfect person to like help you guys understand me. So that is that, and it's gonna be so fun. I literally can't wait to sit down and talk with her because I already know it's gonna go on forever, and she has so many good things to say. So without further ado, welcome my sister Zoe. As I said before, Zoe is just the best sister in the world. She's also the most hardworking person I know. She's a pop star. She edits, directs, films, does all the stuff, and I'm just so honored to have her on my podcast as the first guest.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I think it's just great to have you on the podcast first because she can help you guys better understand me, our childhood together. We're going to talk about trauma. We're going to talk about just all the things that have led up to who we are today. And yeah, so I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about with you is how you think our childhoods were different, because Zoe's 6 years older than me and my brother is 5, so it's pretty apart. You guys grew up together and then it was me much later.
Yep.
Is like the basic idea. So how do you feel like our childhoods were different?
I mean, you essentially got 5 years less of what I got of a childhood. I had like very stable household for my full 18 years living there. Never had to move, and mom and dad were both still together when I went to college. And you basically all of that got cut short when you were 13. So I think that's the biggest way that I see that our childhoods differed. And you just had to go through like a lot more stuff that people don't really go through at that age. And you were kind of forced into independence much faster.
Yeah. For like an overview of basically very short, we grew up in this house in Calabasas together.
Magical place.
We loved it. And then Zoe left to college. Max left. And when we were 13, my parents sold the house. They got divorced. Me and my mom moved to New York. I didn't talk to my dad for years. And now we're here.
Insane.
No. But basically, that's what she's trying to say is like, you had that high school experience of having mom and dad. I just did not get that.
No. So, and you didn't like also just having a stable a home to go home to. You know, like you had that 1 year in New York, and then when you came back to California, you were bouncing in between family friends for 2 years and like didn't have your own home to go home to. And I feel like that obviously rubbed off in a lot of ways on just like your friendships and like
So how do you think like right now in our life we're different because of that?
Because of our childhoods?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I mean, I think I just see it like rub off in your life a lot more. Like I don't have the same like fear of abandonment and rejection, I think,
right,
as you do. And also the feeling of like your space is like so. My space is important to me, but yours is another level of like you need to uphold very specific boundaries and things need to be in a very specific way.
Yeah, it's
because
true.
You didn't get to have that. It wasn't in your control. So now that you finally can, you're like, this is my space, and as long as this is okay, I will be okay. Like,
yeah,
I see that.
Like just I needed that stability now. Now that I have it in my life, I protect it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for me, like still, I mean, it's still sad. Even though I had it until I was 18, like to not be able to go home to like a childhood home for holidays or whatever, you know, to not have that is still sad and hard sometimes. But I think I definitely have also like my home space also is like the coziness of it and like having it be a space that everyone comes to and like having my house
be the host
place, like be the host. It's like keep control kind of.
Exactly.
It's like I'm gonna make this so homey.
You're gonna make what you had and what was lost. And I think it's interesting because at least for me, I remember when everyone would ask me what's important to me, it's like family, number one. Like it was just such a protected thing, and I never thought in a million years that ours would split apart the way that it has and done, insane. And that it like would be the most crazy thing ever. Which is really sad. But like I feel like me and you, through everything that's happened, me and Zoe, like Zoe is just my guardian angel. Like she's like a second motherly figure to me. Like she's always protecting me, and that's something I did want to touch on too, is that we've never had sister like jealousy or competitiveness. Like I can't believe people when they're like, oh, I don't like my sister and this and that. And
yeah, it really blows my mind when I hear about someone who has an older sister who was mean to them.
Yeah.
Like, how could you be an older sister, have a little sister, and not want to literally just like shower them with love and affection and give them everything that you didn't have? Like,
that's a doll.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a
literally.
doll.
I always say that. Like, Luna was like my little doll. I would like teach her songs and like record her on GarageBand.
Yes. And, oh my God, the amount of things I wish I could insert right now. Like, I remember when Dreamgirls came out.
Yes.
Zoe like made me cover Listen. I was like, listen. Like I was going crazy. I was ripping it up.
And I like recorded it on a CD and like gave it to mom and dad.
Yeah. She was like, Luna, tonight we're not eating the bolognese because we're both going vegan today. I'm like, oh my God. Like it was just me following her.
It was
I loved
us against
her.
The world. Yeah.
And I looked up to you. I mean, I still do. Are you serious? Like out of everyone in my life, Zoe is just the most hardworking person. But I always looked up to you in so many ways, and you were always ahead of the trends. Like always.
Oh, thank you.
You really were.
I love when I show you a song and you're like, you're like kind of like, okay. And then literally like 2 months later, you're like blasting it.
I do that all. It's so embarrassing.
That's such a classic older, younger sister dynamic though. That's such a classic trope. But yeah, I feel like having a little sister, especially like 6 years is a big enough difference where like for the first part of your life, it was very like, you were my little sister. And it was like taking you on sister dates and like taking you to the American Girl place or taking you to BJ's to get a Pizookie or whatever. All the stuff that I wish I got to do more of. And then like giving you for Christmas like a feminist t-shirt and like Rookie Mag and like trying to like get you in on that early. And then I feel like once you were honestly probably when you like after New York, maybe around like 15, 16, I feel like you were forced to be an adult so fast that it felt like our relationship already at that point was like, oh, you're my equal. Like I could bring you like when you came and visited me in New York when that year when I was living in the East Village,
already just like best friends.
Yeah.
We could do everything together
I could
anyway.
take you out. I could do literally do anything.
Yeah. No, that's that. Yeah, I know. Do you feel like in your childhood with mom and dad, because I think about it a lot, I just can't remember a time when they were together. Like I have one memory in my head, and it's like us getting a Christmas tree and they were making out in the car, and that's the only time I feel like I know affection of them, which is sad. And I know you probably have way more
memories of them
of that. Do you?
I don't have a lot of memories of affection. I think
the things that were like that,
the stuff that sticks out. Maybe when I see home videos now, I'm like, oh my God, they're cute. Like they were cute at one point.
They were
really cute. but I feel like I'm more so have memories of the like bickering and like once in a while the big fights. But I feel like just a lot of like misunderstanding each other.
A
like,
lot.
Really just.
I mean, looking now, I'm like, how were they together?
Oh my God, you guys
are polar opposites. Like, which is good sometimes, but like
my mom is a disco queen and then dad is a banjo bluegrass loving like,
and my mom's like loves control, and my dad also like, I don't know, it's just like I can't imagine them together.
No,
but
I can't imagine it.
I don't know. I just wanted to ask because I remember in my elementary school, because I've been thinking about this a lot. It's like, why do I act out in the way that I do in relationships? And obviously all of that comes from childhood trauma and stuff. And I was talking with my therapist about it, and she was like, oh, in elementary school, like, did you feel neglected? Like, or like in your younger years? And I was like, honestly, yeah, like neglect is a very big word, but my parents are amazing parents. Like they raised us. I mean, we'll get into that, but
I did like childhood for the 13 years that it was like good. It was
amazing.
So good.
Christmases were magical. Like they loved us, and that's not
Supported
even
all
a
of our
question in my
dreams.
mind. Like,
Yeah.
they loved us and love us still. But I remember they worked together in a business. My mom is a designer. She had a children's line called Luna Luna, and my dad did like the business side of it, which never get into business with your
Partner?
significant other,
Yeah, no.
ever.
Especially
Is
in
what
the
I've learned.
home.
Yeah, in the home. So it was in the garage. They had people come daily to come
Literally,
work.
there was employees, like 4 employees that would come to the house.
Yeah.
They never left work. And
No.
also, the fashion industry is so brutal and so stressful
brutal.
already. Like, Dad was downtown every day in the
Every day.
garment district.
Yeah.
Like, and to have that stress in the house and never leave the house is crazy.
It's crazy. And I know for me, like, at the time when you were in college, Max was gone, they would do anything to get me out of the house because they needed to work, which I get. But I would like come to the garage and be like, Luna, come on, like, we can't right now. And so I had to go entertain myself. I'd like play with things, dolls and whatever by myself. And because I didn't have a sibling or anyone in my age like to do that with. And then it'd be like, oh, Luna, you're going to Camp Calabasas after school, which is like the worst thing ever because everyone gets out of school and then you go to the other building and you're there till like
you're
7.
Still at school. It's not fun.
You're there till 7.
Yeah.
I remember getting lice. I was like, oh my God. Like, I think for me at that time, I felt that neglect of like abandonment of like wanting to be important. I would go to the office every day with like a bloody nose because I wanted to go home, like anything to get attention. And that turned into me being like the school mean girl, which is crazy to think about. But like genuinely in 5th grade, you guys, I had something called like the Luna Show. Every Friday I'd like make all my friends sit and watch me like perform, and then I'd choose my best friend of the week, and then like girls would write into me be like, oh, can I have lunch with you guys today? And I'd be like, sorry, no, we're full, like you can't. And I'd be sent to the principal's office. Like, it was so bad, and I'm not that girl. It's just crazy to think that I ever was, but like it was completely out of attention. I just needed attention.
Yeah,
so bad.
It is so crazy to remember you in that way. Like, I don't remember that part because I just like it's not. But it's also so not you. It's just like when you look at you now, obviously, yeah. Sometimes I feel like we've said before, like, thank God you went through. I mean, obviously it's a lot of shit that you went through, but
it
has made you who you are. Yeah.
Like so after that I got whipped away to New York. You were out of the bubble.
Yeah. I mean, grew up in Calabasas, where at our school it was like 90-something%
no
white.
For real.
Like,
it was
so
maybe
white.
like in a school of 2,000 people, like five black kids.
Yeah
it was a complete bubble, and I had no idea how lucky I was. And even at the time when like our family lost money and like we went to New York to live in this apartment, which was a luxury apartment, and I was like, oh my God, I have to share a room with my mom, like oh my God, we're poor, all like. And then you go and like I'm talking to these kids in my school, and they're like, they have families of 8 and they all live in like, it's just like, it was really, really good for me. But anyway.
And also just like the independent, like living in New York when you're 13, like you were taking like 3 subway lines to get to your school. Like that, it like forces. Also, you were working at Brandy Melville.
I know
you were 14. That was illegal. Like you were literally 14 years old,
low-key,
working for $9 an hour or something.
Yeah, no,
like,
$9 an hour.
Yeah,
for real.
That's crazy.
Like, I had like a break to eat a banana. Like yeah,
you were forced into independence in a very fast way, and then also just like forced to grapple with a lot of adult stuff very fast because obviously you and mom were just like it was you and mom against the world suddenly, but that meant that you were like taking on a lot of like you were hearing about a lot of the stuff she was going through, and it was like it's heavy stuff. So
it was rough.
You were kind of thrown into that.
And I bring all that stuff up because I think now in relationships, this is what I'm talking to my therapist about, is like that fear of abandonment, that like fear of neglect, they're walking away from me, they didn't ask me to come to this, or it's like all stems from that. And I want to know, is there anything in your childhood, like trauma or anything that happened that you think you bring out in your relationships?
So I've been thinking about this. I'm like, I don't think there's necessarily things in my childhood that I remember that have really affected my relationships. I guess maybe my first several relationships, I was really, really bad at communicating because mom and dad just did not communicate. Like that's why I think everything just fell apart, because anytime they had anything, like anything was wrong, they would not talk about it. They would just like build it up until they would explode. But so I feel like I was like that in my first few relationships, and I've really worked on not being like that and on communicating better. But the thing that I think that has affected me the most in relationships is like because, and this is literally the most cliche child of divorce thing ever, but I think everything ends eventually.
I feel the same way.
Literally. I'm like, well, like, how nothing lasts forever. Are you
successful
kidding me?
marriage? Are you kidding? That seems impossible to me.
I will be getting divorced probably. Like,
yeah.
I don't want
it's already
to
in my head.
But yeah.
I was telling someone this yesterday. They're like, don't say that. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's just the way I feel. Like, when people are like, yeah, my parents have been in love for this many years. They're still together. They just like are so in love. I'm like, what?
I'm like, no chance they're in love.
Like, yeah, right. There's no way. But yeah, so that's interesting.
But that's the one thing that it's funny when you can cut this out. But when I was talking to Liz about what we were talking about, and I said that, she was like, I feel like that's the biggest thing that you've been affected by.
Oh, interesting.
Is like you have a very big overwhelming sense of like everything ends eventually.
That I have that?
No, that I have that.
Yeah, you do.
And I just think like everyone, I don't know, I'm like everyone cheats eventually, especially like all the people, all like the older relationships around us. And I even hear stories, Mom will tell us stories now about like, you know, what about happened. Adults we grew up around that we didn't know these stories at the time, but like all of them like cheating around and like doing really, really fucked up shit.
I know. It's like, I mean, but even living life now as we do, we know like there's no, I mean, that shit happens and you like work, you gotta, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just crazy. So yeah, you think that's what you bring out?
I think that's what comes out. Yeah, I feel like that's the main stuff.
Yeah. For you, I don't know. I feel like for you, a lot of what you bring into a relationship comes from your past trauma of relationships. Like you literally went through a relationship, got cheated on 5 times. Crazy shit that like, oh my God, how do you even...
Totally.
It's like, how do you work through that?
I also sometimes think of like queer relationships in and of itself. It's like they're going to look so different than... it's going to look so different than what I grew up around. Right. Like we're like creating our own set of rules almost. And so I feel like that makes so much more sense that instead of stuff from childhood coming up, it is really like my past queer relationships that are really, really shaping me. And like, I feel like after you get like lied to and cheated on in such a crazy way, it's like I'm still working through. I had an anxious attachment for so long, and finally I feel secure. But like the anxious side can still pop up, and just like the little list of triggers, just things that remind you of a past relationship. And stuff.
You'd say you're an anxious attachment style.
I think I'm like that's my baseline, and right now I'm secure. I think every relationship brings a different one out of you,
100%.
But I don't think I've ever really been avoidant.
Yeah. Never have I been avoidant. I was just saying this the other day. I'm like, I can't imagine people that are like, oh, I'm fear of commitment. Like, no, I've never had that.
Like I had that for all those years after my relationship.
Right. That's different. It's like trauma from like defense mechanism.
It's like, oh, I can never let anybody in again.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely anxious attachment.
Yeah.
But that's another thing I didn't want to go into is your coming out story.
Yes.
Because you came out when you already left college.
Yeah. I came out literally my first week at NYU.
When did you know?
So I knew probably when I was like 16, so junior year of high school. And I feel like so many queer people have the like, oh, I knew since I was 6. Like I've always known, but I did not have that. I just didn't think I was that interested in crushes or boys. I was like, I would hook up with boys just to tell my friends that I did it. And I was this is such a classic thing, I think. I was just like, oh, I'm just studious and I'm just really hardworking. And I just like, I'm focused on photography. Like I'm way too focused on my career. Like I'm just not interested in boys. And I just thought like, maybe that'll come later. Maybe that interest will come later. Right. But I realized with watching Glee, Britannia helped me realize that I was like, oh, that's what I want. Like seeing like 2 femme girls, just like that representation, really like clicked something in me. And then I knew that I was going to NYU at that point, and I was like, well, why would I come out here in Agora where there's just one lesbian and one out gay guy, and they were just like the perfect cliches of what stereotypes of what they were. Like, why would I? And it still wasn't that, even though it was California, like still was not that.
It was just getting legalized.
It was just getting legalized. Yeah, and it just was still like lesbian was a slur. Like, I was like, well, why don't I'm just gonna come out when I go to NYU. And my first week there, I like had a crush on a girl. I fell for this girl super hard and had my first like girl experience and everything. And then she just like iced me out immediately. And I was so sad. And I was on the phone with mom, and then mom was like, literally, I was like, Mom, I'm in a funk. I don't know. And mom goes, who is she? So I didn't even have
like
to
a
have
movie line.
Literally a movie.
I wonder, from her perspective, if you asked, when did she know that? Because people told her?
I think, I don't know. I actually haven't talked to her too much about it, except for she did say like she has a gay best friend from Denmark. And he said when he came and visited once, and I was 14, I think, he was like, I think your daughter is gay. And I don't know if she like bought it into it fully, but I don't know. When I look back, I'm like, how did they not know? I took a girl to prom, you guys.
Yeah.
Like, I literally, all my photographs were so gay. Like, girls were kissing in them.
Yep.
Like, and like they would be helping me. Like,
I know. I know.
I'm like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
they had to have known.
I mean, mom and dad were very open, and I'm really glad that they raised us like creatively.
Oh my God.
Because they're European. They're both very foreign. Both have accents. We're raised very European.
Mm-hmm.
But like I love the fact that in their heads they never had this plan for us, like American dream and college and this and that. And like I think that for at least for me,
yeah,
I really loved that creative freedom. And obviously for
oh my
you,
God,
it's like,
yeah.
Can you imagine growing up? Like we never got grounded.
No.
Never.
No. They literally, like, mom would use, like, you're going to be grounded. Like, or I'm
Truly,
grounding
she
you. And then
what
she
that
wouldn't
meant.
follow up on anything.
No, she
like,
had no idea. She probably just saw it in a movie once.
Literally.
Like, they also just didn't, I feel like, sometimes I look at parents and kids and they're all in on this kid and they know their schedule and they know their teachers of third period and what time and what to pack in their dance bag and stuff.
They didn't know shit.
Oh my God.
Are you
kidding me?
Know shit. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Nothing. I'd have to tell them where I need to be at what time, what I need, everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
It was so, I would be like, Mom, like I'm taking all AP classes this year. And she's like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Like, okay.
Exactly. And I know like at our brother's first basketball game, like he shot on the wrong hoop.
And they were like, whoa!
And they were like, whoa, yeah, because they don't know anything about sports. It's actually really cute. Like I love that trajectory
I love
of life. Like
it's very innocent and
it
sweet.
Is very
and like
innocent.
This is a funny, really good telling of like how my mom was when I got my license when I was 16. My mom was like, "So will you go to Trader Joe's and get me a bottle of wine?" And I was like, "Mom, I can't. I'm not 21." And she's like, "Really? Come on."
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. They don't get it.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I feel like honestly, yeah, very, very grateful for that. Especially it worked for us, like having that kind of freedom and having not really a lot of like rigid structure, like worked for us because we are already internally, both of us, so controlled.
Yeah.
Like we have to create our own control and we are very, very like robot energy.
Yeah.
Like gotta get to the goal. And so I think that the way that they raised us really worked for the both of us.
It did.
It's made us like achieve the things that we've achieved because we've always,
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Just like being self-sufficient and capable. I feel like there's some people around me in my life that I'm like, oh my God, you're literally still so reliant on your parents for that, or you're reliant on your partner for that because you haven't figured out how to do it on your own because you were literally like your whole childhood, your parents took care of everything.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, I know. I think about that a lot.
Oh, wait, but yeah, I wanted to ask you about your experience with my coming out.
Oh, it's interesting because I too didn't think. I mean, not that I didn't think or thought anything. I just didn't think at all. But I do remember because I was also so young at the time. I think I was in like 6th grade. So basically, a kid at school came up to me, like this little punk, and Zoe at the time was posting very risque photos with women. Like, I don't even know. It was just, you were in college, you were going crazy. It was funny. But basically, this kid came up to me and was like, your sister's a lesbian. Like, she's gay. And I'm like, fuck you. No, she's not. Like, I didn't even know what that meant. Like, really, I just...
But the way he said it, you knew the way he said it, you're like, that must be bad.
The way he said it, I was just like, ugh, you don't say that about my sister. Yeah. And then I went home to you, I was like, Zoe, some little kid at school said you're gay. And you were like, oh, well, would that be so bad? I was like, oh, I guess not. Like, I just didn't know. I didn't even think. But yeah, I just didn't think anything of it. It wasn't like a big ordeal.
Yeah. Yeah, like, definitely. Do you feel like it made you consider like your sexuality a lot more or a lot younger than you would have?
Yeah, I do. I'm the same way as you at the time, where I just, like, all of high school, I just didn't think about romantic anything. Like, nothing. No girl, no boy, no anything. I just, like, was not part of my brain space.
Yeah.
And it's cool because I've always had the freedom to, like, look at my family and my sister. Everything's always been accepting and whatever. But I don't know. I don't think. I think it definitely made me question it. I have, like, journal entries in high school of being like, I don't even want to be married. Does this mean I'm lesbian? Like, I would, like, say all these things. But yeah, no, it definitely made me question it. But did you think that maybe? Because I don't know. I still don't know. Like, I'm definitely into men.
Yeah.
But I could be bi. I don't know. Like, I've never had that experience, and until I do, then I'll give you an answer if you want one. But, like,
yeah.
Did you ever think that I may be queer?
I definitely thought, I feel like, because I saw the similarities of, like, you just not really caring about boys, and just, like, wanting to do YouTube and wanting to do your work and everything. Like,
yeah,
I think I thought a little bit about that, but I feel like I'd asked you enough times. I was like, so what do you think? Like, maybe you could be gay? And you're like,
she really
Zoe,
wanted me to.
You're like, I don't think I am. You're like, I know that I could be.
Yeah.
Like, that it'd be okay if I was, but I don't know if it's in the cards for me.
Yeah. No, I know. I totally remember that.
I could see you being like a very specific woman could, like, I don't know, you could have an experience with one day, but I don't see you, like, I don't know if I see you being in a romantic relationship with a woman.
No, me neither.
But
that's the only thing. But who knows? You know, never rule it out. Another thing I wanted to touch on in our childhood was the whole thing, because Zoe struggled as well with an eating disorder. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. I struggled with anorexia pretty badly my junior year of high school, and then kind of, like, went into my senior year, and then I feel like when I went to college, it kind of chilled out. I feel like it took like years though to make, like, a full recovery, and obviously there's still stuff that, like, and I feel like almost every girl has some form of weird eating patterns. Yeah, I feel like I'm finally at a place, honestly, like, I went vegan, which I know for some people with eating disorders to use that as an excuse to not eat and to to have to constrict even more. But for me, when I went vegan, I was like, all right, I'm just putting, because it was a control thing, my eating disorder. So it was like, I'm just putting that control on something else. So it's like, okay, if it's vegan, I can eat it. So even if it's a cupcake and it's, like, bad for you, it's I still was like, okay, I can eat it because it's vegan.
Interesting. Okay.
So it really helped me heal, I think. But then, and then I think obviously, like, in the industry that I'm in, and, like, it's even crazier for you in ballet, obviously, but just, like, being in front of the camera all the time, I feel like I have engaged in a lot of just, like, restriction leading up to videos, or, like, just being like, okay, like, I'm just gonna
I do know that,
not eat for a full week, and because that's easier than, like, just living a healthy lifestyle. Like, I'm just gonna not eat, and then, like, I'll look fire for the video, and then I'll eat, like, a burger right after, you know.
Where do you think that stemmed from? Like, originally, when it first happened in high school?
When it first happened in high school, I honestly think it was, I think subconsciously there's a lot of stuff from Mom, because I think Mom has struggled with eating stuff her whole life, honestly.
We have an almond mom.
We have an almond mom.
We have an almond mom.
You guys, I literally was telling my therapist that the other day. I said, oh yeah, my mom's an almond mom. And she's like, what's that? And I was like, oh, that's TikTok lingo. Whoops.
It is, yeah. An almond mom, for those not knowing, is basically a mom that's like, oh, you're hungry? Eat an almond. It's like a metaphor, obviously, for a lot. But we unfortunately did have an almond mom growing up, and it was very much all about appearance. It wasn't like, oh, you can wake up in your Justice jammies and limited to whatever and go to the farmer's market scruffled, like, messy hair. No. Like, you had to wear this, like, her clothing line of, like, chic fur, like, not fur, but, like, whatever, leather bomber jacket and sequin leggings, and, like, we always had to look on. You know?
I mean, I definitely am like, damn, I was the best dressed baby. Like,
exactly. Looking back now,
like all black. She was like, for me, you were like the Luna era.
I was,
but for me, it was just like she bought me so many, like, little black designer clothes or something, like, when she was living in New York.
Yes,
and so I feel like I was always in this like cute black outfits, but I was like, I just want to wear a monkey shirt from Limited too.
Yeah,
like,
same. That's all I wanted. Justice.
Yeah,
all I wanted. But yeah, so you think that maybe some of it stemmed from
I feel like some of it for sure some of it for sure stemmed from just like seeing the way that your mother treats her own body and the way that your mom looks at herself, like the way that she would pull at her skin or the way that she would restrict eating, like that obviously like gets ingrained in your head. And I think that a lot of it came from that. And then also just feeling like I felt like I always was around my friends. Like felt like that was the chubby one, like in a bathing suit and stuff. So I like thought about that a lot. And then I think when I was, like went through puberty and after that, like started restricting and like seeing how I could control like my weight and seeing like the compliments I would get from that and like the attention I would get from that. I like went super hard into that. And I think it was very like societal as well.
Yeah.
You know?
100%. 100%.
It's kind of a mix. It's a big mix of both.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you experience that from mom, like with the restricting or like, because we had no snacks. I saw TikTok. It was like POV, you're at a snack household and you don't come from you guys. When I would go to my friend's house, would be raiding their pantry. The mom would have to like call my mom and be like, hey, like, do you feed your kid? Like, just because we were European, we had never had Cheez-Its or fruit roll-ups. All I wanted. We had like maybe a meringue.
That was literally,
meringue
you guys,
cookies.
We had two sweet things in our house, like our whole childhood. It was meringues from Trader Joe's and palmiers.
So, like, I don't want to eat chalk. Like,
palmiers.
Why would I want that? I'm traumatized by meringues. I don't want one ever again.
It's literally air. It's just sugar and egg whites.
Sugar and air.
It's sugar and air.
Yeah.
Like,
so I would go and just destroy pantries of my friends.
I literally would. There was one neighbor that had the most stocked garage ever, like gushers, pudding tubes, like gummy bears. And I would, no joke, sneak in through their window and go and steal sweets from them. And then there was another neighbor that I literally, like, they had a cookie jar. And I remember one time I like went home with literally like 5 cookies in my pants. Like I took them from the jar to take them home and like stocked them.
That's so funny.
Like we had sweet tooths.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So how do you think for you, like seeing me go through my eating disorder, do you think that affected you and your eating stuff and body image stuff? I know obviously like you were in ballet, which is rampant with eating disorders. And I feel like obviously you had a lot of, you still struggled a lot with body dysmorphia and with eating issues, but it could have been almost, I don't know, I was just like seeing some of your friends, like it could have been so much worse.
Yeah. I think I was too young at the time to realize what was going on with you. Like I could obviously tell, but it was just, I mean, it almost seemed normal to me just because it wasn't out of the blue. Like I feel like mom has always had those tendencies as well. No, I think it was ballet that like led all that up, societal stuff as well. And then, I don't think necessarily, but it has been hard sometimes. Like, I feel like mom does compare me a lot to you. I remember like when you kind of lost a lot of weight, it was like, wow, look at Zoe. She look at her legs. Look, it's amazing. Like she would say stuff like that, and that affected me. Yeah. But like you've always been supportive and all of that. Like it's never been in that way.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, I totally feel that mom for sure like compares our bodies. A lot. Yeah. A lot. Because we're almost like, are you 5'7" or 5'8"?
5'8".
5'8". Yeah, you're taller than me, but we have some similarities in our body types.
We do.
Like we have the same boobs.
I mean, not really. Mine are way smaller.
What?
Are you serious?
Really?
I have way smaller boobs than you.
Huh.
I wish. Are you kidding? You stole them.
Well,
for the fam.
You genetically
all the
soy milk.
It was all the soy milk.
No, they randomly came out like sophomore year of college, like so late.
Yeah.
I didn't have
maybe I have time. No, I guess I'd be graduating college. Shit. But I'm out of luck. Oh man.
But yeah, okay, but ballet. Definitely. I remember, I mean, should we talk about like when you shot that video? My Mom-ager moment.
Oh, Zoe's Mom-ager moment. She honestly, I owe my whole career to Zoe. I was crying in bed alone. My mom was in Indonesia because she would leave for like months on end to work. So high school, I would like take care of myself in this apartment.
Which, by the way, they literally, the only reason they were in that apartment is because Luna applied for it when she was literally 16. Like my mom was away in Jakarta working. You were staying at a family friend's, and you literally applied for an apartment. You went through the whole entire application process.
I did. I hacked her bank accounts. I changed every password. I dug in files to find her tax returns. Like I did all of that.
It's insane. It's crazy.
I remember being in English class, like having a folder with everything, doing it, typing on my computer. I vividly remember the time. And I went and viewed the apartment. They were not expecting this girl to show up. And I was just like this little girl. And they're like, okay. Like, I'm like, oh, we're not going to get it
like,
now.
where's your mom?
Yeah. But, what was I saying?
But so you were in that apartment. You were doing Nutcracker, I think, and you
yes.
were
Okay,
crying.
so I was doing Nutcracker. I had a really rough dress rehearsal. I felt fat. I was just really struggling with my body at the time. And I called Zoe because, I was just like alone crying. And I called her and she was just like, Luna, hang up the phone right now. You're going to pick up your camera and you're going to just tell the camera what's going on and journal, like almost like journal it.
Yep.
And you're going to upload it to YouTube. Yeah. That's what sparked my YouTube because, didn't spark my YouTube. I had already been doing it at the time.
But that thing went viral.
It went viral. It was like, okay, that's my message now. That like, the amount
Body
of response that I got from that, how it helped me at the time, like best advice you've ever given me, maybe, but like it was so good for me. So that was Zoe's Mom-ager moment. You've always been a Mom-ager though.
Yeah,
to me.
I have. I just knew, I was like, that is literally the most what you're saying to me right now is so damn relatable. Like there are going to be a million girls that relate to exactly what you're saying. So literally be that voice.
Yeah.
And do it.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah. But what back to Almond Mom. Back to Almond Mom. Or what are our last?
God. Now we're just shitting on Mom. I love my mom. She has so many things that have led her up to here. Like I don't blame her because like seeing her relationship with her mom and things like,
oh my God,
she knows what she's done and she works on it and she acknowledge, like she'll sit here right now with us probably and like talk about it. And I hope that maybe we can have an episode like that.
Yeah.
Because I do understand as a mom to look at your kid struggling. I'm coming home like crying because my thighs are too big for ballet or my foot arch. Oh, my foot arch isn't good enough. Okay, let's buy her a foot arch stretcher. Oh, my thighs aren't. Okay, let's go on a juice cleanse. Like she just wanted to, in her eyes, that was helping me succeed. Do you know what I mean? And that was helping my goal. But obviously, if you got common sense, it's like, oh, that's not the response that you should be giving your kid. Because like in 7th grade when it first started, for me, I'd come home from ballet. I was so little. And I'd be like, Mom, I'm fat. My thighs, I'd journal, whatever. And she'd be like, okay, let's go to the gym. So we'd go to the gym for the rest of the day after my long day of dance. And like, she'd be like, oh, okay, I have an avocado. We can eat it for dinner. Like, it was crazy. And then it's like, when she left those months in, when she went to Indonesia, I remember one time, which is like really bad. She wrote on these Post-its and put it in the pantry on every snack. And it said, stay strong. It literally said, stay strong on them. Like
that's the most wild. Like that's one where it's like when I've told people that they're like, what?
Yeah, no, it's like not really funny. But like, and we talk about it now, and I'm like, don't come for my mom. Like,
yeah, you guys has when I like meeting my mom's mom, like our grandma was really really messed up to her, like in a lot of ways. And so when I see my mom. And when I like compare it, I'm like, damn, my mom's a saint compared to my grandma.
I know.
So, every generation heals a little bit of generational trauma and gets a little better. And like, I know that we'll be better with our kids. But there's always going to be, it's hard. You can't go from like being raised a certain way and like completely, how do you let go of all that?
I know.
Yeah, it's hard.
It is really hard. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's the majority of who we are. Obviously, Zoe's going to be on many more podcast episodes, but I'm so happy that you were here and like went through all that. I do want to ask you some questions though that were sent in from fans.
Yes.
So we're going to get into that to finish off.
Amazing. Wait, I also have questions for you.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Are they deep?
I came prepared.
I guess maybe let's do those now.
Should we start with that?
Let's start those questions.
Oh, okay. So I know we started out with talking about our childhoods being different. Like, have you ever resented me for having a more idyllic childhood or just having longer of a childhood?
No, I don't know if resent would be the right word. Like, I remember when I was younger, I was in my head immaturely, I'm like, well, Zoe got to get a laptop and Zoe got to get like whatever, all this stuff bought for her. Like, why can't I have that, And I think maybe at that time I did. But it's interesting because you and Dad related so much growing up on everything because you did the same hobbies. And like, I totally get that, So like, you guys were very bonded. And then me and Mom kind of had to be bonded because of what happened with us. But I don't resent it because I think if you went through what I did and if I went through what you did, like we wouldn't have the relationship that we have right now. And like
totally.
that's why you're such a stable person in my life, is that you had that, and you also know exactly how I was raised and like what happened, and I feel like you can protect me, and you know me more than anyone because of all that shit that happened, you know? So I don't think I resent you for it.
Yeah.
And I think what we had, like those 13 years that we did have, like was so great, you know?
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah. I don't hate you.
That's good to know. Yeah, I think it was those years where it was you and mom kind of, you know, even though I would always like just want to side with you, I like felt weirdly like protective over my dad too, and I like didn't want to see like
that was the one
I didn't want to
thing.
see the bad stuff that he was doing, and
I know.
like because me and him were so bonded. We had all the same hobbies, and just like spent so much time together. So yeah, I feel like that was difficult. I like a lot of the times I would discount Luna's experience, and I'd be like, well, you just feel that way because mom is
right.
You're carrying mom's pain.
That's
like
the only thing. Yeah.
You're like, but not realizing like you have your own pain surrounding that situation.
Yeah, but you came into that understanding.
Yeah,
you did. Like I remember that at the beginning.
Yeah,
it was weird. It was almost like you and dad against me and mom.
Yes,
you know.
Yes.
Yeah. But you came to that understanding. I totally get it too. You know.
Yeah.
It's just, it's interesting. Family stuff's so weird.
Divorce stuff is so
Divorce
weird.
sucks.
Like,
and like
having
our
to take
parents don't talk.
sides.
Our parents don't talk.
Do not talk.
They hate each other. Like
there was, you guys.
They still don't. Like
during COVID, I feel like there was a glitch in the system where there was like 1 month where mom and dad were okay being in the same room.
It was crazy.
It was 1 month
out of nowhere.
It was like we had this 1 month.
No, honestly, 1 month, and my dad came down, like visited and cooked for our family, slept on the couch.
So weird.
I was just like, they were having a normal conversation. We were all stunned. Like
stunned.
I felt weird. I felt like I felt weird.
I remember we played We're Not Really Strangers, and there was like 7 questions.
What?
It was like, what's your like biggest mistake in a relationship or something? And my dad like picked that one. And then he was like, I don't know. And my mom was like,
oh my
walking
God.
away. Like we should not have played that. That was really
oh Lord.
But yeah, no, they do not talk
They
at
don't.
all. I wonder if they ever will.
I think about that, like our wedding, like what's gonna go on there.
I think by that time they're gonna be okay being in the same space. Hopefully
they'll be in the same space, but they're never gonna be like cordial.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they'll be cordial. They just won't be friendly like that.
Like my graduation, they both were there and literally just didn't. We were sitting at a table, only like 5 of us, and they did not talk to each other.
Oh God, it's just like so stupid to me. I get it. I totally get it. You know, but
you have 3 kids together. Come on.
Like, come on. I don't know. Sometimes I look at divorced parents that do it right, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that they could have saved us from with what? Because even they should talk each other every day. Like every day to me.
Every day. Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how does that make you? It's like not going to make us feel good because we're half each of them, like by blood.
Exactly.
So when you're talking shit about, if I'm hearing like bad things about either of them, I'm like, well, am I bad?
And it's like, oh, you remind me of your dad right now, or like you have your dad's nose. I'm like, oh, well, you clearly.
Oh my God, yeah. My mom just looks at me and sees dad in so many ways.
I know she does.
Like there's some things I'll do, I think, that just she's like instantly like, like
I know
you're just
she's
triggered.
Your
dad, like. But okay, my other question for you is, what was the first time you really thought like, I can do this and I can make YouTube my career?
Oh, I don't even know. I think, just around that time that I filmed that first video, that was like, I started making money off of it, and then management reached out to me that I'm still with now. And I met up with people. I was going to these events, and I was just like, whoa, like this is so fun and cool, and I'd love to do it. And I'm like making a good living off of it, like, and I'm good at it, you know? And I think that just that time, and then the whole ballet niche was just so it at the time. And I think just around that time I realized like, at least for now, it's fun, and like I'm not gonna go to college or go be a professional ballet dancer and give up this world that I'm already in now. Like it's fun for me, and it's good for me, and I like you know.
And you make an amazing living. Doing it.
Exactly.
And then last question: when was the first time you felt like that you can remember, like, oh shit, I have to take care of myself. Like no one else can do this for me. Like I'm on my own here.
Oh my God, that's a deep question. I don't know when I first felt that. Like, I think my first instinct or first feeling of, okay, I'm independent in this world, and like I need to just be on my shit, and like I kind of closed myself in, Capricorn energy. I could be alone forever in a ranch and be okay. Like I first felt that when we moved to New York, for sure. And I was like 13, riding the subway alone, and then I was in charge of the groceries for the day, so I had to go to Trader Joe's, carry all these bags to the subway, back all the way home for an hour. And I'd like treat myself. I'd go to Dunkin' Donuts and get like a donut secretly, or like just like I lived like a little world of like a movie like that no one else lived, you know, at such a young age. So I think in that time, and then that was obviously when mom and dad were the worst. Dad, that was when dad didn't talk to me. That was when my mom was a mess, and she worked like downstairs in the kitchen of some restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that was the time.
Okay. Actually, really last question.
Okay.
Do you think me being gay and you being straight has affected, like your ability to get advice from me on certain things?
Yeah. Okay. We're going to talk about this. We have to do a whole nother episode on just that. But I do think sometimes from you, it's hard because I talk to you and you hate men, you know? So it's like you have already in your head made the storyline up of like they're gonna always cheat and they are never gonna be faithful and they're immature, and like you just like that's what you think because we've never had a good male figure.
It's
I
just
don't
like
either.
All the close men in my life have cheated, and that's totally where that comes from. I'm just like, oh well, they're all just like animal and they all just like have to get what they want. And I feel like I definitely it's just shaped by the people that I am around.
100%.
But
I get that. But I do. I think at the end of the day, like emotions are emotions, and relationships are all common in a way of like what you need to work on for yourself or this or that. So it's not like, you know, we can't talk about it at all. But I do think that sometimes I feel that judgment from you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'll be better.
No, honestly, I don't blame you.
I'm just so like, I say the wrong thing sometimes.
Yeah. I know. But I'm like, shit, your relationship, girl on girl. Whoa. A lot of emotions there.
A lot of emotions.
A lot of
emotions.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that. Okay, I have questions for you to finish this up.
Amazing.
Do you guys talk about your sex lives and give advice to each other?
I feel like we don't really go into extreme detail.
We don't.
No. I feel like sometimes, at the beginning of when you were sexually active, I feel like you would tell me more stuff.
Like you gave me my first vibrator.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, I did.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think now, like sometimes I'll hear you talk about it and I'm like, I have to leave the room.
Yeah,
like I don't know if I'd want to know my sister in these situations, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of disturbing to think
like
about family members.
We're on like the surface level of it.
Yeah.
Which is like fine. I mean, we don't really need to talk about it.
Yeah. We talk about like health stuff too. Like if there's like ever a health concern. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stuff around that. But I feel like we don't go into like he called me this or whatever.
Okay, if you could have one of my personality traits, which would you choose?
Ooh. I think I would choose your ability to, when you're in a group of people or like if you're sitting at a dinner table and you're not feeling it, like, or if you're sat next to somebody that's kind of like a black hole energy, like you will still always elevate the vibe.
Really?
Like, you're always going to like bring it up.
You're like, you go with whoever is sitting next to you?
I'm such a mirror. I'm like, if I have a black hole next to me, I will literally like just shut down.
I have to explain this game to you guys. There's like black holes in a dinner. There's a mirror. There's a fiddlestick. I'll explain it one episode, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like I'm such a mirror, but I think work. I think it is a lot of work, but I wish sometimes I think it would be easier if I was.
I do feel like you're like that though. Like genuinely, me and my sister are so similar. We both are such people pleasers. We're active listeners, and I was actually wondering like who, if you're listening to this, if you actually don't know which one is which,
because our voices are so similar
and our mannerisms and the way that we talk. Like I guess I was talking to my friend last night. Andrea, who knows you, and I said something. She's like, "Oh, whoa, that was Zoe." Like, like people always think that.
Yeah, they do. They say that about me too. They're like, "Wait, that was really Luna."
That was Luna. Yeah,
yeah, no, it's so true.
It's interesting. But we're both very much like
very
that.
people
I wonder where that we can go into that too. I mean, we're out of time.
So many things, but I was gonna say, no, I think that you always are gonna like elevate the vibes, and also the other thing I would want to choose is you're very business minded. Naturally, not in a way. I don't think you even think about it. I think don't think that. I think it comes naturally.
You're way more business minded.
No,
than
I'm not. I'm not business minded, you guys. I'm literally just like, I just want to, as long as I can like make my art and live. I'm never thinking about like investing or money. I'm like
Mom and dad.
monetizing. I'm like dad with money.
Yeah.
And dad just throws his money away on whatever he wants to, and that's how I am.
Yeah.
Like it's never
But like you're
things,
happier.
But it's always no, I am really happy. I am very happy.
It should be that way, you know?
Yeah. But I wish I could have more security.
Like to monetize what you do.
Yeah.
It's like I do that better, I guess you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
And just like building more security around you and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
One last very important question.
Yes.
It's a really serious one. Do you like me blonde or redhead better?
You know what? I'm gonna say I like the redhead better right now. Yeah.
Wow.
I think blonde is obviously blonde's you.
Yeah.
It's like natural Luna, so I think it'll come back.
Yeah.
And I love blonde Luna, but I think at this current period in your life, red is so suited to you. It's like adds this fun edge to everything. It's like mature in a cool way. I feel like it suits the style that you're kind of doing right now with your clothes. Like I love it.
Yeah.
And it looks so natural on you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's our answer, guys. Zoe, thank you so much for being my first podcast guest. You guys, I had so much fun. I just can't wait for this journey. It's going to be literally, I just know it's going to be my outlet. I could talk for hours. I could sit here right now. Like I'm looking down at this. I'm like, there's no way that an hour has gone by. Like that's insane.
No,
there's no way.
There's no way.
So you guys better be ready to listen to me talk because I will talk your ear off. But yeah, guys, I'll see you next week for our next episode. Thank you, Zoe. Her EP just came out. Falling in.
Falling in.
Falling in.
Falling in.
Falling in. I'm in the music video for Crazy X.
Yes.
You guys have to go watch it.
She kills it.
And yeah, I love you so much, sis. Thank you for being on the podcast.
I love you so much.
All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.